Today, I want to talk about a very sensitive subject that affects lots of families: divorce and separation. It affected mine before I could even remember my parents together. And I would like to share some perspectives as a child of divorce to give you some tips to understanding your child's behaviors and reactions to the change, and some ideas about what you can do to be a safe, supportive base for your child during this transition and beyond. But first, let's bust some divorce myths. The first myth, that kids won't remember. Some people think that just because your divorce happened before children were old enough to remember or to understand what was happening, that it doesn't affect them. The second myth is that even if the divorce is happy or without conflict, that kids won't need any extra support or counseling, or that their behaviors won't be affected. These could not be further from the truth. Now, every child is different, but this lack of a family identity, no matter when it happens, can bring up questions of self-worth and self-doubt if dismissed as unreasonable or silly. Your perception of divorce may be that it's best for everyone. Your child's perception is what you have to respond to. Now, kids show stress in different ways. Some may withdraw, some may seem depressed or unresponsive, and some kids may even develop physical aches and pains. And then on the opposite extreme, some kids may be more aggressive or rage. Temperament and environment both impact how kids process divorce and separation. A naturally anxious child may develop more severe symptoms, and their daily threshold for stress and change and transition may be lower. A child who is more flexible may not show any outward signs of stress, but may seem argumentative or distant or uncooperative. A child with an overly sensitive temperament may regress emotionally, or they may crave that baby-like attention, may seem regressive in their behavior. These are signs that your child needs help coping. So what can we do to provide a buffer to the stress of family separation and divorce? My suggestion is to follow the 4 C's: communication, consistency, care, and counseling. Communication. This is so important. Don't talk about your ex in a negative light, even if you think they deserve it, or if you think your child isn't listening, or put your ex down, or contradict their parenting ideas in front of your child. The verbal attacks and emotional abuse and arguing that often follow a contentious separation or divorce are often more responsible for the extra stress that your child feels than the actual separation itself. Obviously, you shouldn't fight right in front of your child, but this extends to talking about your ex in front of your child. What you say about your ex-partner or spouse is what your child is going to internalize about himself. Daddy doesn't do this, mommy wouldn't do that, daddy can't do this, mommy didn't do that, mommy shouldn't do this, daddy needs to do that. This becomes your child's story. They will take those messages and form their self-concepts around your opinion of your ex-partner. And I know that this is unintentional. I know that you don't mean this to happen. But your child may choose one of you to be the victim and then choose to protect that person. Children can sense your feelings about each other, and this may confuse them and make them feel guilty about their desire to spend time with or see the other parent. Parental tension, arguing, none of this escapes your child's understanding or awareness. Many people feel that young children are protected because they don't know what's going on, they're too young. Believe me, they do. The second C is consistency. Don't ever use your child as a pawn in settlement discussions or custody arrangements, or ask your child who they would like to live with. Kids should not be asked to choose or decide grown-up responsibilities. This is an emotional burden that is not theirs to bear, and it is too much for them to handle. As much as you can, commit to acting pleasant and loving when you see your ex during those custody transitions. And I know this can be hard. Sometimes it's hard to even look in the same direction, let alone be civil with someone that you have so much conflict with. But this is exactly what needs to be done. Finally, rituals are also a great way to keep the consistency of relationships. Going back and forth between houses can be really stressful for a child. When children come back from the other household, there's often a period of adjustment that they go through. Behaviorally speaking, especially if there's conflict or different parenting styles at play. So allow for this transition time. Know that it might be bumpy, and create emotional moments that allow you to reconnect and attune to each other upon each return. If your child comes back every Sunday, make Sunday Fun Day. Have a special game or an activity or an event that you do each week on this day to reconnect with your child and reestablish the safety and security that your kid needs to feel. You can make a special craft or use it to remind your child that they can hold this item close when they miss you or when they miss the other parent, or if they feel worried about when they're going to see you or the other parent again. This provides children with an emotional anchor. All right, let's move on. My next C is care. Now, this sounds obvious, but the most important thing that you can do for a child is unconditionally accept his emotions and treat them with tender, loving care. Expect and accept all emotions that come up. Never deny or discount out of guilt or in an effort to protect your child. Be honest, but take care to give your child only the information that they need to feel secure. Respond to the emotions rather than the behavior that you see. You're going to want to give your child extra attention and care during this transition time, and it might be helpful to even keep his world as small as possible in the beginning. Trying to keep busy with friends or family can be helpful, or it can be overwhelming, so follow your child's cues. Introducing new people or partners or friends too soon may be upsetting to a child, especially young children, because they can get really attached to new people quickly. And then if those relationships don't work out, then kids may think that it's their fault and then accept this false belief that everyone that they love eventually leaves. Caring for another means that you accept that your idea of support may be different than the kind of support that your child actually requires. So be sensitive to what your child is asking for. And finally, get kids into counseling. Younger kids, older kids, even if you think the divorce was amicable, kids need an objective listener. They need to know that their feelings are validated. And sometimes seeing mom and dad happier than they were before, that may be the best for you, but it could cause kids to doubt their own feelings about the situation, especially if they didn't see it coming. Little kids also need support, play therapy, art therapy, family therapy. None of this should be avoided simply because you feel that the kids were too young to notice what was happening. That was my teachable moment for you. I hope that if you are going through something like this or have gone through something like this, that you can find some peace and a little bit of comfort as you lead your children through this transition with a focus on their emotional health and yours. I would love to connect in person, so if you'd like more teachable moments like this, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to my email list by going on over to teachthroughlove.com and signing up. And if you like this video, I would be ever so grateful if you would share it on your favorite social media platform, because when you share the love, you spread the love. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember, it's about consciousness, not perfection.